definitely want to talk Helium. I think that would be really interesting.
We have to.
For a lot of people. Yeah, that's like got to be a huge highlight of this episode.
Yeah.
Dude, like you've got me hyped, and then I've got all my friends hyped, and like everyone wants to know more about it.
Dude, I swear I've never seen an investment that's not an investment advice, but like I've never seen like something like a cryptocurrency excite so many of my network. Look, this isn't advice. This is just what I see around me. Like all of my close friends got excited about it, and all of their close friends got excited about it. Like the signal is not losing any bandwidth as it travels through the networks.
Dude, that's a great way of putting it. And yeah, I feel exactly the same way because all my friends are hyped on it. And the interesting part is that I feel like HNT as a cryptocurrency is not being hyped by like the hypey crypto world yet, but it's like building in this really natural way, which is really the way that it should be. But you know, it doesn't have like the big YouTubers talking about it and like, oh my god, the next coin that's gonna pump. Like I don't see any of that with HNT, but I see exactly what you said, which is that every person that hears about it gets absolutely intrigued by it and goes deep on it.
Yeah, and they've actually made a point to not engage with the crypto community in that way. They're like, yeah, like we're not really part of the. This is what my friend was telling me, so I just didn't hear this firsthand. But he was like, apparently they're like, we're not part of the crypto community. Like we're not like trying to be that. We're like building a We're like building a wireless network with cryptocurrency as a tool. We're not a crypto company. Like in other words, we don't care about all the crypto kids thinking that we're cool.
Which is really the way that something real gets built, right? I mean, it's like you want to just be the real deal. You don't want to be just hype and no substance. They're just actually doing it.
I swear, this shit is so obviously an interesting idea. Like, some people just don't look because it's like ranked number 80, so they assume that it's just like irrelevant.
Yeah, well, it's only been in the top 100 for like what, 2 days?
Yeah, goddamn, it's like 80, man. It's just like it makes so much sense. Like they're building a distributed wireless network every time.
Wait, let's start there. Yeah,
let's
explain
we're not just
it.
Talking to each other.
Let's explain it from the beginning. For assuming somebody has absolutely no fucking idea what we're talking about. Yeah. What is Helium?
What is Helium? So they're building like a decentralized wireless tower. Is the current working explanation. So like just like cell phone companies have to buy land and they build these massive towers, and then those are just sending data around the world, invisible waves, whatever. Like you can break that one tower into a bunch of mini towers and put them in people's houses and pay people a share of money for hosting this. I feel like I'm not describing it that well. I feel like I could do so much better.
I mean, just keep rolling with it.
Yeah, so like they are trying to build a decentralized wireless network throughout the world where instead of renting land and building wireless towers, they made the hardware specs to how to build a wireless tower. I call it a tower. It's really just a little box you put in your house. How to build one of those. Those hardware specs are public. So there's like 6 companies that are making Helium hotspots right now. And they just know how to do it. And then people buy hotspots from that company. They set them up in their house. They make Helium because every month right now, 5 million Helium's created. So that 5 million is split between people that bought these boxes from the manufacturers, set them up, and they are then broadcasting their internet to the city in a very low bandwidth signal that you can use to say like put on your dog collar if they run away from home. You can just like send a location data back. So you're not going to be FaceTiming right away, but you can send low bandwidth stuff throughout the city. And they have these set up in like 400 cities around the world. Like it's expanding rocket fast. Like they hit 24,000 hotspots recently. They just hit 20,000 hotspots like a few weeks before that. So like the shit's exploding exponentially. And what's exciting is that the more spots that get on the network, you could say, well, that's boring because everybody that owns a hotspot is going to earn less helium because it's divided between more people. But the really cool thing is that once the 24,000 hotspots become 50,000 hotspots, then each hotspot is going to get half the amount of HNT, but then the network is twice as exciting, you might say, because there's twice as many hotspots. Oh, okay. So then by this point, there's like 20 manufacturers making helium hotspots because they want to make money too. And every manufacturer that sells them has been sold out for months. You can't get them.
Crazy back orders. They're flipping on eBay for like 20 times the price, dude. Have you seen this on eBay? It's crazy.
I have seen that. It's insane. This is like everyone wants to get their hands on some fucking helium right now. And so by that time, there'll be 20 manufacturers. Then they can pump them out way faster. The only reason we're going from 20 to 24K in a few weeks and not one day is because of the supply issues. So once they're pumping them out at 10,000 a day, who knows, then let's just assume 1,000 a day. So we get from 50,000 to 100,000. By then, everyone's getting a quarter of the amount of helium they're getting now. But at 100,000 hotspots, it's still really exciting. And miners on helium are really fucking profitable right now. So even if they make a little bit less, it'll still be really profitable. Like, instead of making the cost of the router back in a month and a half, you make it back in a year, which is still very reasonable, or even 2 years. I bet people would do. So like the economics are just really exciting.
Plus then when you factor in the not guaranteed rise of the value of the tokens that you're mining, then it really gets exponential.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like one of the things I was confused on at first that I'll clarify just because now I feel like I understand it, but I didn't at first, which is that at least what they're doing right now is just for the Internet of Things devices. It's like the things that are just low signal, like long range, like they're pinging like parking meters and like location tags and stuff like that. So at least as of now, it's your Wi-Fi. Is it really?
Yeah, they are. They're working with the biggest mousetrap company in the world.
That's crazy. That's interesting. Does it like ping you to tell you if a mouse is in there or not or something?
Yeah. Because otherwise you have to check.
I love that.
You have to fucking like peel your eyes around the corner, not knowing if you're going to see a mousetrap or a dead mouse. Now you know beforehand.
You get a notification on your phone. Yeah. Mousetrap just activated. Here's a live photo. But
here's a live stream of the mouse slowly dying. God.
My understanding is eventually this will be more like something that competes with, like AT&T and stuff like that. Like it could be really all internet. Is kind of where I think they're heading. Though this might be too soon to get into this, but the one area that I don't still understand is that right now you're basically taking the internet that you're paying for in your house or in your business or whatever, and you're then broadcasting out a tiny signal of that to the Helium network. But the question for me is still, like, down the road when the Helium network is something that actually powers internet, like you could just have Helium as like Wi-Fi basically, or your phone service, then how can you still be like paying your ISP at home, broadcasting it out using Helium? It's like it creates this weird thing where you're kind of almost broadcasting out something that you paid for. So I wonder how they'll transition from the Internet of Things thing to the Internet of Everything thing. Any thoughts on that yet?
Yeah, so like these ISP companies are still going to be needed because they own all the underground wires and from the best of my understanding. So like we still need them for a lot. Like Helium is going to take a while to like get everything, maybe eventually when we make those wires on the Helium network, who knows? But we still need them, and they're still incentivized to like be ISPs because like that's how they make money from people paying them. So you might say like, oh, well, are they going to say like, hey, Sam and Matt, like you can't use this for Helium because you're just packaging our service and selling it to fucking Austin, Texas, Sam. And it's like, well, yeah, but if you think about the technology, you know, I don't know it from like a super low level technology, but if you think about, there's like with the internet, there's like your internet provider, and then it comes to your computer. So you can just request data and get data, but they wouldn't really know if you're broadcasting it like from the best of my ability, and they can't really like it's like what if a water company told you like once you get the water you can drink it but don't freeze it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm trying to imagine like what it looks like if helium is truly, truly, truly successful. Like that's where it becomes hardest to understand for me. Like if it becomes just so, like if you're better off having helium service like on your phone than Verizon or whatever, then like if that's just being broadcast out from people that are paying ISPs and then putting it out, like it's a lot to get your head around, like how the economics of that like work and like who's going to be okay with what, I would think.
Yeah.
But
And
either way, like it
yeah. Sorry.
It's super interesting and it's on like an incredible trajectory. Like basically, I think the idea in like one sentence is like AT&T, but not a corporation, instead like owned fractionally by all the people on the network. Is that a decent
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a super compelling idea, and I love these ideas of using blockchain for like, I feel like at least for my progression through crypto, the first example of this was really Brave and BAT, like understanding that there's like products that are being used that crypto is a part of, not just like, oh, this is the next currency, you know, like that was always the pitch of every crypto, was just like, this is the next currency, this is the next currency. And now it's like, oh, like we're building a fucking network of cell towers basically. Like it's so different and it's so compelling. And then you have Bitcoin maximalists.
Oh yeah, dude, I like, it's so common around the crypto community, so like I almost like have to kind of like bite my tongue at a lot of these like I don't pretend to be a big Bitcoin maximalist, but like people are very comfortable. Like if I say something like let me think, like I'm like, yeah, like I like, there's some coins I'm interested in, people be like, oh, you're into like shit coin, like people are like very threatened by these other coins from what I can tell. Yeah, like it's so, it strikes me as so funny because you have to be so open-minded to understand Bitcoin. And it's like, I tweeted something. It was like the dialogue of a Bitcoin maximalist. Like, I don't know much about other coins, but I know that they're all not valuable.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like it's definitely a very strange psychology, because you're taking people that have fundamentally understood how paradigm shifting this technology is. Like these people understand it.
Yeah.
And then they become what they are opposed to. They become like the old system again. They become so like locked in their ways, religious about it, to where they're just as shut down as the people that they're arguing about why Bitcoin is great. They're being the exact same way. They're the Peter Schiff of everything else.
The reason that they engage with him on Twitter is because they are him.
Yeah. Dude, that's a great point. I feel like the people that are the most in fights with Peter Schiff are the Bitcoin maximalists. They're not like the crypto people. It feels like it's those Bitcoin figureheads that are like Bitcoin versus Peter Schiff. Yeah. It's like this big thing.
They secretly love each other. Peter Schiff is a gold maximalist.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, they're like two sides of the same coin.
It's like, just, bro, like people will always find a new, fresh type of maximalism.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
That yeah, no, I think you're like I like that you've been talking more about like how crazy it is.
Yeah.
Bitcoin maximalism, because I feel like that is a message that needs to get out there right now. Like it's really strange to me that I don't know, like I mean, do you really see it in your friend group, or is it more just these big like known people on Twitter that you see it?
Last night I had some people over for dinner, and it was like friends of friends, and like all these people are great. There's one guy that's like into Bitcoin, he's mining Bitcoin, and then my other friend, super cool, he was like, hey, like, so if you, talking to that guy, like, were to give me some advice on like getting more into crypto, like I got some stuff in BlockFi, like what do you think I should do? And he goes, I think that, like if it's in BlockFi, like it's not your keys, not your coins, like that BlockFi could take your coins from you. And, like there's always a cost to something like that. And he's like, I would recommend like putting everything into Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin's really the only like certain one. The rest of them are sort of more speculative, more like, more just like quick money, and you're way more likely to lose something in something that's not Bitcoin. So I'd recommend just putting it all into Bitcoin. And like, I kind of like, I get the perspective. It makes sense, but I'm just like, first of all, like if you keep your coins on an exchange, like you're probably going to be fine. And if you keep them on 5 exchanges, then that seems pretty safe. Okay, maybe one exchange fucks you over, you're down 20%. And
yeah,
in terms of the shitcoins, it's like you can't like. I just fundamentally have a problem with people having an opinion on what they don't know. It's like I don't.
Yes, that is the thing.
Yeah,
that is like an overarching theme of my life. Yeah.
Bro,
I like when people have strong opinions and then you just tell they haven't even thought them through. That's the problem in so many areas.
Well, it's by definition, it's an opinion on what you don't know. If you say I'm a Bitcoin maximalist and other coins aren't valuable, it's like, bro, there was a coin invented yesterday. You don't even know the name of it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it would be like thousands of years ago, like finding the first shiny metal and being like, this is the only one that is ever gonna matter.
That's exact.
And it turned out to be like nickel or whatever is like one of the cheaper ones, like it turned out to be aluminum, or I guess I don't even know. Do you find aluminum in the wild? I don't know. But yeah, dude.
You start telling all your friends, like, I've got like some strong hands and I'm holding my nickel for life. And in the first few years, you end up being right. And like, Bitcoin, don't get me wrong, like maybe it's not a perfect example because like Bitcoin might still be the top cryptocurrency forever, potentially, because it did birth this whole system. And there's like such a, like I've heard people say like Bitcoin is the ultimate NFT. And like, I think there's a lot of truth to that.
I feel that, yeah. I mean, we should probably clarify. It's like, I think we're both super pro Bitcoin, obviously. But it's just this idea of like it being the only one that's insane. I also think
Sorry.
I was just going to say that I think it also depends who is on the receiving end of that advice question, because if your grandma is asking about cryptocurrency and she's like, what do I buy? It's like, I don't know, just buy Bitcoin, right? Like I kind of understand it in that context.
But for sure.
If you're somebody that's like, doing more research and going, that's the equivalent. I think you are the first one that told me this analogy, or maybe not, but like buying Bitcoin is like putting all of your money in the stock market, but just buying like a very, very like boring, just like buying the whole market, right? Like a very boring ETF. Whereas like altcoins are like, it's like venture capital. It's like investing in companies that you believe in and things like that.
Yeah. Or
I think it's a pretty good analogy.
And I would tweak the analogy very slightly. I would say buying Bitcoin is like in the old system, you held US dollars and you bought stocks. And in this new system, you could say you hold Bitcoin and you buy other cryptocurrencies. Yeah.
That's probably a better way of saying it. Yeah. Bitcoin is like the new, how we think of dollars. Like even when I'm watching the various altcoins that I'm in, like I really at this point pretty much ignore the dollar value. I just look at I'm trying to gain Bitcoin value. Like I value my account in terms of Bitcoin. And if I'm losing Bitcoin but gaining dollars, then I'm losing.
Right.
But if you're gaining Bitcoin, even if you're losing dollars temporarily, but gaining Bitcoin, then I see that as a positive trade.
If you're actually doing stuff in cryptocurrency, then you'd like to be able to outpace Bitcoin. Even CZ from Binance said this. He's like, yeah, like if we thought that Bitcoin was going to outpace BNB, we would do nothing.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super true. Yeah, but it's such a paradigm that like people need to be broken out of.
Yeah. We got some sort of cat issue.
No. She just jumped up. Could you hear that?
I can hear it, yeah.
No, she just jumped up next to me. Dandy's on the podcast.
Gotcha. Guest cat. Yeah.
Yeah. But any other thoughts on Helium? Like I feel like I guess I'll just
I'm sure we have some
like,
stuff to add here, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're not finished on it. It's I mean, yeah, obviously this whole thing is like not financial advice or whatever, but like it's definitely the most compelling that I feel like we've talked about in so long. And you were so early, like props to you once again. Like when did you must have first told me about Helium like at least a year ago, right?
It was probably like a year ago.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yeah. Even me for a while, I was like, yeah, this is really cool. I'm not so sure about the tokenomics. Like, I need to learn more about the tokenomics, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
and then eventually things just click.
Yeah, I'm really hyped about it. I mean, I have no plans to. I actually added to it. Like, I have no plans to sell, to like rebalance or anything for a while. I think like if it gets freaking insanely out of hand, then we'll have to see. But like, yeah, dude, I'm very bullish.
Yeah, man. And your vision of insanely out of hand might even be like different than mine. Like I kind of it's hard to say what I expect. Like, but like in terms of my own money, like I think like if this thing works, it could be so exponential.
Yeah.
And like
I see that.
It also seems that it is working as of now. Like every day it seems to be working more and more and more. And like if it starts to have a vulnerability, you know, you would expect that maybe you can see that beforehand. Like,
yeah.
It's very
Dude, I think
yeah.
I'm like basing this just off of like a feeling from doing research on the hotspots that I feel like there are probably at least conservatively, there are at least as many on pre-order that are already existing, I would say. And maybe much, much, much more than that. Like the amount of interest in ordering hotspots right now is absolutely off the charts. Like I've been trying to research it and figure out which side note, I feel like you should do a guide for that because the only reason that I haven't pulled the trigger on one is because I'm like, how do I decide? And like I think the main factor right now, because they all kind of use the same technology, but it's like, well, which one is actually gonna freaking get delivered? Like there's a lot of, I don't know how much you've been saying on topic because you already have one, but I don't know which one to like trust.
Right. Yeah. The problem is like I don't think I will be the one to write the guide for it, but I need to find somebody that can write the guide for it. Like
that works too, but yeah, that would be I think it'd get shared a lot because that's what I'm looking for is like just but
yeah, bro, I get like anxious of all these guides that I want to produce that haven't been made yet, and like there's so much low hanging fruit, and like it it's a very exciting time.
Yeah Nice. Dot guide plug opportunity.
Yeah. If you want to check the price, tweets, Reddit's helium.guide or hnt.guide or m.guide/helium. Nice. Yeah.
Love all that reminds me, I watched a video about Handshake last night.
Okay, yeah. So this is one that I'm starting to learn more on.
Yeah. I haven't probably by the time I post this, I will have figured out what platform it's actually on, but I'm sold on it. Like it sounds really interesting. It's definitely like super cool. So I guess the idea, and you can probably explain it better than I do, but you can own the, like, with domains, there are different, what's the, I don't even know what it's called, what I'm talking about. Like, what's the end of the domain called?
DNS.
Okay, so like the way there's like a .com or like a
a TLD.
Okay, a TLD.
Yeah.
Like you can basically with this is like a decentralized way of being able to own the TLD, like the extension. So you could own your own like .sam or something in theory, and then you would own all of the subdomains under that, which could then even become a business where you're selling those domains. Yeah, it's a really interesting idea because like right now they're all kind of owned by like a couple companies pretty much. Like .coms and the regular ones are owned by not many different companies, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think .com is somehow like a special one, but yeah, like all these new ones like .guide and .how .whatever, they're just these random companies that own them. That got them from this like internet. Basically, like the UN of the internet is how I think of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah,
so I guess
like,
then
having it be decentralized would be
so
very
then
interesting.
with Handshake, it's like because it's like their own protocol for the internet, basically, right? So then they can create new ones that are powered by their protocol, right? Like, so then you can create a new extension and then they're like auctioning those off or something like that. I need to do more research, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, there's different ways that the auction works. There's just certain rules on like how the auction works. And yeah, like it's basically just a trusted ledger of the domain name. So everybody that's participating in Handshake, it's like as it gets momentum, then like it's a bet on people trusting Handshake for the new TLDs, which seems likely because from what I know, they have a competitor, which is Ethereum name service, but like that is more geared towards Ethereum specifically. And from the vibe that I get from it, rather than the internet. And Handshake's cool also because if you try and search for a domain that already exists, like I tried to search for .guide, it said these are being reserved for the people that already own them. Like we're taking like most of the DNS on the current internet and like porting it over.
Oh, wow. So it could like kind of convert over to where it's running on their system for domains that already are in existence. Something like that.
Yeah, basically, so like they don't disincentivize the old system from hopping over.
Yeah, that one's really intriguing. Definitely gonna do some more research, but I watched. There's like a quick like explainer video on YouTube that's like, I don't know, 3 minutes long. People should watch it. It at least explains it, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Probably what I'm second most excited about after Helium, and it is I've definitely been trying to build up on RUNE.
Yeah, that's another exciting one. We'll get to that in one sec. One more note on HNS. I had to also figure out where do I get this thing, and I've learned over the years that if you have to spend some time thinking where am I going to get this thing, then you should really try and figure that out if you want to get it, because it's real easy to be that I'll wait till it's on Coinbase guy.
Yeah, it's like if you have to jump through a few more hoops, that means you're early.
Right. It's like it's worth learning how to jump through hoops to get these things.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, it's on an exchange I don't have an account for. I'll make a fucking account. Send some Bitcoin there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this one, it was on an interesting exchange. Like, it wasn't on an exchange. It was just on a website to interact with Handshake called Namebase. So you can send your Bitcoin there, and you can convert it to HNS. Like, they only have one market, Bitcoin to HNS, and you can also buy domains on this website. It's called namebase.io, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like, so they have like a exchange just with one market, HNS to BTC. And like, if you're in the US, you can like, I think it's like you can't convert your HNS. You can't withdraw your HNS to an HNS address, but you can convert it to Bitcoin and withdraw that.
Okay, so you can't send HNS out of here? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
But you can convert
you'd
it
have
and
to
then send
convert
it.
it to Bitcoin first. It's just like a weird regulatory thing.
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
these guys, I mean, super interesting. And this one, the market cap is what, like a couple 100 million or something?
It's yeah, I like thinking of it in rank too. So let me.
Yeah, that's useful.
So it's ranked 214, and it's 240 million market cap.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a good place where it's like not tiny, tiny, but it's, most people haven't like dug that deep.
Yeah, I mean, compared to cryptocurrency, it is tiny. Like if you're not in the top 200, then you're pretty much forgotten about. But this seems pretty interesting. So if you find interesting ones in 200 to 300, that seems to me like a good sign.
Yeah, I want to research one that I know is playing in a similar space. Maybe you know about it, but Blockstack, they're doing something with DNS too, and I know about it because a good friend of mine actually bought the ICO in 2017 and has just held since then. And like when this bull run started, he like started getting all pumped on crypto again, and he's like, yeah, I have this like random like Blockstack. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what the hell that is. And now it's like, I think that's up in like the top, maybe like number 60 or something like that. Like it's still like a serious contender. And I know they're doing something with DNS also, but haven't really researched how it would like fit in with something like Handshake or how it compares.
Yeah, let me see what I know Blockstacks. They're 86 right now, $1.2 billion market cap. What they aim to do is create like applications on top of Bitcoin. They see themselves as like layer 2 Bitcoin, where it's like Bitcoin has proof of work, and then Blockstack, from what I understand, has proof of Bitcoin.
Maybe, am I mixing it up though? It doesn't it have something to do with, or is that?
You might be
I
mixing
thought it had
it
something
up.
to do. I'll have to ask him again. I thought it was that one that had something to do with the DNS stuff, but maybe I'm mixing it up.
So
But
if you
I'll
go
do more
to
research.
their site is stacks.co, and it's honestly very beautiful.
Let me just pull it up.
Yeah.
Wow, that is beautiful. A better internet built on
Wow.
Bitcoin. Okay. Makes Bitcoin programmable. Decentralized apps. It sounds like Ethereum on top of Bitcoin
Yeah.
in a way.
That's
Smart
like
contracts.
Ethereum based on Bitcoin. But then there's also the Stacks token.
Yeah.
So like I'm not sure. I know that they did like a legal security offering like that was stamped approved by the SEC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my friend that bought it was like, I mean, like Naval was super behind this and like some big names and stuff like that. Like it seems like they're super legit. I just didn't know like how active they remained, but so it wasn't on my radar, but I'm slightly intrigued to like do some more research there.
Yeah, there's the thing about especially what annoys me about Bitcoin maximalism now is that the altcoin market, even calling them altcoins, like the cryptocurrency market is so much more developed over the past few years that there's so many exciting projects with traction, and some have millions of users. Like it's really been taking off.
Yeah. And they're actually doing stuff this time around. Like in 2017, it was just like, this one might be big. I'll buy it.
Right. Like,
But now it's like, this one's building a new internet. Oh shit. Okay.
dude, every
It's
bull
like the
run's different.
ambitions.
Like, I don't know if it's a meme idea or what, but I have this idea of it's like what you thought was the bull run in 2017 is the bull run in 2021. Like,
Yeah. I see that. I mean, like, there were people calling for $1 million Bitcoin in 2017, and everyone thought every ICO was going to be the next big thing.
Yeah.
It was just, it was like too rushed. It was ahead of its time.
yeah, I thought of a pretty like good heuristic. Like, it's just like I think it's very simple, but if you're taking any advice from somebody, make sure they understand how that cryptocurrency works. And if you don't know how much they understand how that cryptocurrency works, make sure they just are good with technology. Like,
when you say how it works,
yeah.
do you mean like the tokenomics itself, like how the actual token is controlled?
Yeah, like you'd want someone to have asked themselves all of these questions. Like, I think there's a few key questions, like what does it do? What's their traction? Like, what's the governance like? What's the inflation like? Like for XRP, people didn't ask, what's the supply like? Oh, so you're telling me that they want to create a worldwide money supply? Oh, and the founders own 50%, but don't worry, it's locked up for the next 12 months. Well, what are they going to do then? Sorry, next question.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think a good transition back to Rune is that I read that there's a Multicoin Capital has an analysis on Rune, and that one like blew my mind just because I had it made me realize honestly that I had never like deeply read about like the tokenomics, I guess you'd say, of really most of them.
Right.
Like other than maybe I guess Bitcoin, like kind of understanding that. But there's a really good explanation of Rune, which is the Thorchain token, and like how the actual like how it's used as collateral for the trades that take place between other cryptos, and it makes a ton of sense.
It's very simple once you understand the concept. Like at first it sounds complex, and it's like, especially the fact that it's called Thorchain, and then it's very simple. It's just like, oh, it's a decentralized coin base where you send one person your Bitcoin and another person sends you back your Ethereum. And, oh, well, why don't they just take your Bitcoin once they send it? Because they had to buy a bunch of RUNE and lock that up to prove that they're trustworthy, or they'll get punished. So it's like there's like the rule of law in crypto seems to be that it's not like if you do something wrong, then we're going to come get you. It's like, if you do something wrong, then we already have your money and we're just going to keep it.
Yeah. Like you won't do something wrong, because if you do something wrong, you just lose. You don't win. It's not like stealing. It's like it'd be like stealing
wrong.
$1 million.
Yeah, it's just unprofitable.
It's like, because I believe if I recall, it's like, don't you have to lock up, it might be 2x the value, or whatever it is, it's more than the value that's being
3x.
traded. So it's 3x.
Yeah.
Even more than I thought. So that would be like stealing $1 million but losing $3 million.
It's like, look, if you want to take my $20 bill, fine, but I have a briefcase of your money that I'm just gonna keep.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
I don't care. Like honestly, I'd probably rather you do that so that I can keep the money.
Yeah. And then this explains how the value of Rune will go up, because the more that, what do you call the people that are controlling it? Like, are those like nodes, or are those?
I think they're LPs, liquidity providers, and then there's another job that I need to learn more about.
Okay, so like the more that the liquidity providers are providing liquidity for trades between other tokens, the more Rune that they need to have, which eats up the supply of Rune, which is how, in theory, the price of Rune goes up, right? So I love that now. Like, I feel like, to tie it back to the 2017 thing, at that time it was, this company's doing really this new crypto project is doing something really, really interesting. They're doing this and this and this, but for that, wow, that's like going to change the world. Yeah, and they have a token, and you should buy the token because it's from the same project.
Right.
It's like, okay, like, and it might go up too because it's like kind of related to the thing, and you're like, huh, like, okay, like, yeah, I guess I'll buy the token then. Like that. That's literally how like most of them are, you know.
People just didn't have a reason why it would go up. They'd be like, no, like more people are gonna, aren't we excited right now? People are gonna get excited just like we are. Like, buy it, right? Like, yeah, buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much more legit now. It's so real. Like Helium is literally creating a real network, and there are real physical hotspots, and there are real services that are using this network already. Like, it's a real thing.
Helium is just endlessly fascinating. You know, it almost reminds me of Bitcoin in the way that it's endlessly fascinating. But
yeah,
it's like, you also start to think like the other really exciting thing, which could be 5 things, but one of them is that they're this is the type of thing where you build the network first and then the developers come later. And like, they're already building the network. They already have a lot of developers and devices on this thing. And like, the network comes before the applications are built on it. And the fact that there's already applications built on it at only 24,000 hotspots really makes you start thinking like, oh wow, like there's a lot already running on this thing. Like, just imagine what's coming next.
Yeah. And again, there's just going to be so much more, dude. I wish we could have the numbers of how many hotspots have been ordered.
Oh, that would be a good, yeah. You honestly, like, if you look at the rate of, yeah, you wouldn't be able to know that right now, but if you look at the rate of fulfillment and like how many hotspots are joining the network, you could at least like ballpark it.
Well, that would be on deliveries.
Yeah, but if you do deliveries and then you assume like a 2-month lead time, you wouldn't know the orders today, but I don't even know.
I see what you're saying, but if the orders are massively ramping up, like it wouldn't be factored in to the current fulfillments. But either way, I think the point is my gut feeling is that a shitload of people are ordering them, because like when I first when it clicked for me, I was like, dude, I'm gonna order one right now. And then I was like, well, I ended up going like, which one should I order, and not ordering yet. But I was like, I'm gonna order one right now. And then I was like, wait, like, why don't I order 10 right now? And you start doing that. And then I joined like a Facebook group around it, and like started following the subreddit more closely. And dude, there are posts like every day, like I just ordered 250 hotspots or whatever. And like, it's almost like a business. Like there are going to be people that are managing 1,000 hotspots potentially.
Yeah, it's it is going to, like, people, like, this is how it always, like, stuff like this starts. It's like the individual people, and then eventually later on there's people that are like really businessy about it, that like make it a lot more efficient, almost like what's happening with FBA, I would say.
Dude, I thought about this with the hotspots, because it's almost surprising that nobody has come in yet and just been like, I'm going to put $10 million into hotspots.
Oh, yeah. Like a company could do that, and probably will.
Yeah. Or like one of these companies that's making them. What if they were just like, you know what? We realized that instead of selling these things, we can just like lease them, or we can pay a building $10 a month to plug in this thing, right? And we're just gonna like deploy all the units that we can manufacture.
Yeah, like that. That. By the way, I'm ordering. If you see me just looking down, I'm ordering a green juice that I want to have before my flight.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was curious if someone had come up, but green juice calls.
Yeah, I thought it would be a few lesser clicks than it ended up being. Ooh, card expired, Apple Pay. All right. Next. All right. I think we're good.
So heading to Costa Rica today.
Yeah, dude, this should flights just come up on. Like, this is the shortest I've ever been back at home between two flights. Like, got back Monday, flying out Saturday, and it comes up fast. But yeah, it looks like they got it. Did I lose my train of thought? What were we talking?
We're talking about ordering green juice. No. Well, I guess we were talking helium.
Yeah, man. It's and like we haven't even gotten into like, they're like actively working on a 5G network, and like based on how 5G works, it's like you need a lot of basically hotspots in people's houses. Like one on every street corner. So I don't know, like it's I'm always open to learning more about 5G and the health stuff around it, but like it seems like it's happening.
Me too. I mean, look, like I think it's happening either way, and I don't think we necessarily fully understand what the implications of like being bathed in that constantly could be. Like, I'm not saying I'm for sure certain that it's going to kill us all or whatever, but you know, it's reasonable to think that there could be some minor unknowns for something that has literally never happened before, that there might be some unknowns when we go and do the thing that has never happened before. Right?
I have a question. Like, I've seen this graph of bandwidth. So like on the very low end, it's like radio waves, then microwave, then like some like maybe like infrared or something, and then there's the visible light spectrum, then there's ultraviolet light, then there's X-rays, then there's gamma rays. And so is 5G just like a little bit closer to a gamma ray than 4G? Is that what it is?
I would have to also get refreshed on this. I believe it's higher frequency. So I mean, it's definitely nowhere near like that end of the spectrum.
I know that it's not, like,
but it's
X-rays will fuck you up if you don't have that.
Right, but I'm pretty sure it is in that direction in comparison. Yeah, like it's a shorter length wave.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested to learn more. You hear all these people saying different things. Like, honestly, I don't know anything about it, but yeah, you're right. Like, it is happening, and also like taking that out of account for a second, just the logistics of setting up hotspots. Like, it's the CEO like tweeted from his account the other day, like a picture of his phone like working on a 5G test.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's at least was the implication. Yeah.
So I do want to add this though, is that like 5G I think is happening whether like hippies want it or not, and I would prefer it to be owned by the people than owned by Verizon, because like in a way too, like if there are some sort of health implications or unexpected things, it's probably better that it's not owned by one corporation that can make that decision. And it would just incentivize the manufacturers to find ways of tweaking it in such a way that is more compatible. Yeah, I don't know. Like, look, I'm definitely not like a super anti 5G or expert or anything on it. I'm just openly skeptical. It's just a big unknown to me, and I don't like to add in unknowns that could mess with me too much. But I think it's happening anyways. I mean, I'm probably within a 5G signal right now, like from whoever the fuck, and it's just kind of the way it's going. But I think doing it through, I think it's a cool concept to think that like the people of the world could own this network is a much more exciting future than Verizon owning this future.
It's fascinating, man. From every angle. Like, I think we've hit a lot of the angles at this point, but it's fascinating, man. And like, it's, you know, on a podcast I heard a little while ago, this investor, Tushar, that I follow, he was talking about helium. He said that helium might be the most exciting thing to happen in cryptocurrency since Ethereum in terms of unique innovation. And he definitely has a point.
Yeah, I feel it. I mean, it's probably going to happen that the hypesters are going to start talking about it. It feels inevitable now that it's in the top 100. Like, I feel like the amount of awareness is about to go exponential.
Yeah.
Like,
it is going exponential, actually.
Yeah, like just the other day I mentioned to you, I was like, yeah, I can like totally see this in the top 20. And you're like, yeah, like, or the top 10 or the top 5.
Yeah.
and I totally see that. I just was thinking even like really short term, like I could see it ramping to the top 20 like really soon. And yeah, long term, dude, I could totally see a top 10 or top 5. Like, why not? What else deserves to be up there?
Sometimes the long term and the short term mix each other up. Like,
that's true too, dude.
I'm not saying
like,
it's definitely going to happen, but just like, you never know.
No, I believe in that. If the word, I think, well, it's an awareness thing, right?
Yeah.
I think if the whole world like had this epiphany that we have had,
right,
I think it would be like the number 2 cryptocurrency, right? Or the number, it'd be up there. Because yeah, I mean, people always price in the future. I mean, look at Tesla. Like, we price in where it's going, not where it is. which is not irrational in my opinion. I think it makes perfect sense to factor in where something is heading and not just where it's been.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I'm gonna give myself a headache talking about helium anymore. But like,
well, let's move on. Let's move on. It's definitely been like a solid chunk of the pod.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, and just like to explain that a bit, it's just like, you know, making money's fun, but it's like it can be stressful in its own way, and like all this excitement and all of this stuff happening, like, I don't know. Eventually, I just like gotta resign to like. Yeah, like I trust in helium. Like I think it's good, and I gotta like give my mind a break before the next bout of obsession comes on.
It seems like, I mean, from afar, I know we're separated by a distance, but it feels like you have a very healthy detachment from like your investments and stuff. Is that accurate, or am I like making an assumption?
No, I think that I've definitely learned that over the years, because I've taken like different big bets, and like you just like I feel like I've learned a lot about my emotions just investing, because having something in, like I just realized like I have an investment because I want to, because I think this is going to go up, but I can't be afraid of that it going up and happen. What I think is going to happen happens. I can't be afraid of it going down. What I don't think is going to happen happens. So then I get to this point where like, oh, so I just don't know what's going to happen. It's like, well, I think I know what's going to happen, and I've been right a lot before. It's like, oh, well, am I definitely right now? Like, no. Like, I don't know what I don't know. Like, something might happen. Maybe helium goes to zero. Maybe there's a logic error, and actually this thing was never going to work, and they just didn't realize. Like, there's all of these things that could happen. So it's like, okay, like I'm still excited about it. I can't be 100% sure, but I don't know, 80% sure. So I'll just try and make my money match what my thoughts are. And like, if my money matches my confidence levels, then I'm comfortable, because then like,
see that, that is the key. Like, I mean, I've struggled with bad investments and beating myself up and stuff like that, and I feel much like, honestly, it's so freaking obvious, but it was the lesson I had to learn, is just make your positions correlate to your convictions, and then you're not gonna freak out. It's like, I feel like when I was getting into bad situations was when I'm just trying to chase everything, and I'm just chasing like whatever like other people are saying or thinking or whatever, like, versus just being like, you know what, like there's these 3 things that I'm pretty damn confident in, and that's basically all I'm going to touch. I'm so much happier thinking about investing in that way than like, you know, trying to have exposure to everything and trying to ride every train and just doing shit because you feel FOMO. Like, I'd rather just, you know, put my money where my real deepest convictions are. Feels much better.
Yeah, it's like allowing your actions to reflect what you actually believe.
Yeah, like whether that's like putting your whole stock portfolio in Tesla or putting your whole money into crypto, like whatever that is, it's just like, like doing like, you know, a lot of times we do know what's going on. And a lot of times we are tapped into what's next. And I think it's easy to fall into the trap of like, oh, you can't predict anything, or like, oh, like no one really knows what's going to happen, or you can't time the market, or like you can't, like, oh, like that company's not making any money or whatever. Like, but if you understand it deeply, then it's back to the other thing. It's like the having a strong opinion without even knowing how to back it up. It's like, if you can actually back up why you feel that way, then there is a damn good chance you're right about it, if you've really deeply thought it through and you're arguing with somebody that has clearly not thought it through.
Yeah, there is. And like, it's a matter of being able to hold energy within your emotional body. Like, money is energy, and when you're holding the most accepted type of money that everyone else is holding, then you feel very secure about that. But if you then have a belief that contradicts the majority, oh, I want to hold my value, my stored energy. That's really what it is. It's stored energy, and people have different philosophies of how to hold their stored energy. Oh, you're holding US dollars, I'm holding Tesla stock. And that's by nature like a political difference, because it's a difference of belief as expressed in people's actions. So people, if they don't want to like think through these things and realize that, oh, maybe I disagree with almost everybody about something, that would be real scary. So you just take the most commonly held opinion. But if you do say, you know what, actually, like I do disagree with almost everybody about Bitcoin, about Helium, and I will risk losing all my money because I don't think that I'm wrong, like that's real confidence.
Yeah, I admire that so much lately, of like original thinking, actually doing the research, first principles. Like sometimes it's not popular, but you just go with it. Like honestly, even Helium was a good example. Like I was talking to somebody that, you know, like they're doing super well on buying every little tiny coin and whatever, Uniswap, everything. And I'm just like, I was just explaining like, yeah, you know, I'm just trying to like take a more conviction play. And he's like, yeah, I mean, it might go up, like Helium, it might go up, I haven't heard of it. And I was just like, no, like this one's really interesting.
Oh yeah, people just like don't have an open mind to a new crypto. Like even the smallest thing of like, if somebody comes to you with like, oh, like I just like sprinted here, like I found the most interesting cryptocurrency ever. Like, I'd be like, yeah, well, there's some altcoins out there, I'll check it out.
I think like people just put stuff into like the shitcoin bag, you know. They're just like, because this is somebody that was buying a ton of random little coins, but it's just like, yeah, like, you know, I haven't heard hype about it, so whatever. Dude, like and I was like, no, like this one's interesting, like this is a real thing.
People will do, not to talk too much shit about this person, but like people will do anything to avoid taking responsibility for their senses.
Damn.
Like, it's for their opinions, for their like thinking through it. It's always better. Like people would like to outsource thought. Like even as a JFK quote, people love want to enjoy the comfort of opinion without enduring the discomfort of thought.
Dude, that's a fantastic quote, and I feel like it does sum up something I've just been thinking a lot about. Like just back to like dude, even to bring up like GameStop and stuff, like I fucking admire that guy so much, just because he deep fucking value was just so set on this when it was not cool. He seemed crazy, you know. He was just, and it wasn't popular. Like he was he had no following. Like there was really no like rallying behind it. He was just like, nope. Like
why did he do it? By the way, because I sort of am like, bro, why did you buy so much GameStop? So like I'm interested to hear why he did it.
He literally like ran the fucking numbers like deep. Like he just was so like, dude, he was doing this like a year or two ago. It took way longer to play out than he thought, but he was just, he literally just looked through all the financial shit that I would never look through and literally just like spotted something. He's like, look, like this is so much shorted. They have these assets. They're doing this, like this company, their value is driven into the ground. It is not, it's worth way more than this. And he was he just built real conviction, and nobody gave a shit for 2 years. And he was doing this, and he was posting on a Reddit all the time what he was doing, and they would get like 2 upvotes or whatever. And he was just posting, just saying what he was doing. That's it, and why he was doing it, just like laying out his thesis for literally like 2 years. And then that all played out. So I admire that, because he spotted something, he had conviction, and he fucking stuck to it, and he was right, even though when it seemed insane.
Yeah, man, it's like, I think it's easy, especially when you're younger, to look at investing as a thing and say, oh, investing, that's not really doing anything. I want to do something. Like investors.
That was me up until like a year ago, dude.
Yeah. And you could even take it a step further and say investors don't actually affect the world. They're not doing things. But, you know, from another perspective, investing is the process of sort of like fine-tuning your energy holding abilities and your capital allocation, and like you can like put some energy into this project and like, oh well, why don't you just do that project? Well, because there's motherfuckers over there that want to take my money and do it. Like, if they want to do that, then why would I do it? Like, and they're probably better at it than I am. So, okay, then you do that. And then if you're right, then you get to make another bet on another team. So it's like very interesting, because you could conceive of a world where most people are investors and few people are doing things, because it might get efficient enough where the few things that are done make such a big impact.
Yeah. I genuinely believed that it was just like, oh, you're just moving money around. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. But now I see it more like, no, like, you are betting on the future and also voting on the future through investing.
Yeah, that is what it is. It's a bet and a vote.
Yeah, and it is important.
Yeah, like, and that's why, like, I've never bought like oil stocks or gas stocks. Like, so like I've had some people hit me up like, oh, like these things could pop, and I'm just like, are you stupid? Like, you think that oil and gas are the future? Like, oh, well, what about the next 6 months? It's like, I don't want to invest with that kind of like short-term mindset.
See, that's the same shift that I've had. Like a year ago, I would have been swayed to I did actually like early COVID. Like, one of my friends was like, dude, like oil's at below zero or whatever, like you got to buy calls or whatever, and like I did, and like went to shit or whatever, and like I was just following stuff, you know. But then it's like in the last year I realized, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know that the oil industry is gonna be fucking, like, what are you doing? Like, it's so ridiculous to me to even think that I was like at all interested in doing something like that. It's just like I was delusional or something. It's like, no, dude, like, buy Bitcoin, buy Tesla, buy like stuff that you know is going to be the future. Like, what worked for the last 50 years is actually more likely to not work for the next 50 years, I would say. Not just that it might not work again, it's more likely to not repeat itself in my eyes. Like, I just think these old safe things are actually like the most risky, and people that are avoiding risk end up taking the most risk because they're missing the fucking boat.
They're not avoiding risk. They're saying, I'm avoiding risk.
They think they are. They're just like taking like the basic advice. Like, you know, you should have a 12% allocation to gas. I don't know, like whatever the fuck. Like, it's just some old school bullshit stuff that's all going to implode. And I think, I mean, it's kind of sad, but like there's probably a lot of our generation that will take the advice of their parents and like end up kind of fucked in terms of their investments.
Yeah, I mean,
in the long term, it's
like, yeah, man, the market will do what it does.
Yeah, the market be like it do.
It be like it be. It's market's real markety today, huh?
Sometimes it go up.
Sometimes it go down.
What else is any thoughts in your mind other than crypto ever?
Yeah, I probably gotta hop off in like 10 minutes or so.
Okay,
because I got a flight in like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Solid. Should be cool to go to Costa Rica.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Anything else? It's been a lot of crypto recently. Let me think. Like I went snowboarding this past weekend, which was fun. Yeah, I just like, I realized like it's you know, crypto's gone up a lot. Like, I have more resources than I had before it went up a lot. And it makes it this thing of like, okay, like, well, what do you want to do? Like, it's, you know, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to ask that. You know, I worked for a while to get to that point, but yeah, it's just this interesting question of like, what do I want to do? And like this, you know, that feeling of not having enough time, like I feel that I'm getting better and I'm accepting things, but you know, it's still like every year, like I'm capable of doing more. So it's like, just as I accepted it, the previous state, I have even more temptation to do more in front of me, and like, oh, well, I could do even more now, and I could hire people and this and that. And it's like a balance between managing just like my daily routines and like just like taking care of myself first, and like realizing like it's all very exciting, but in the end, like, it's nothing is worth feeling very anxious about for too long. It's like you want to have fun with it, and like I feel my energy and myself like changing throughout the day, and even like these like kind of like exploring different like meditation and all these things. Like I just realized like we're constantly kind of fluctuating between different levels of consciousness and different types of being, and being empowered versus being disempowered and not even knowing it. So I think that the most important thing is just to try and just take each moment one at a time.
Solid advice, dude. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I think like both of us kind of struggle with that idea of like, should I just meditate in the sun, or should I try to be the next Elon Musk?
Yeah. Another episode title could be like meditate in sun versus strive to be Elon.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
obviously the answer is somewhere in the middle, but no, I feel that all the time. It's like
you know what else?
And you're in
why not
go
both?
ahead.
Why not combine the best aspects of both into a unique Matt Loberstein character?
And unique Sam Feldman. I mean, I think you're in an interesting spot because I mean, yeah, your resources have had a shift.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, I'm pretty sure we've talked about it on past podcasts. Like, what would you do if you had, you know, millions and millions of dollars and or whatever? Like, you know, everyone's kind of like, I think it's a good question for everyone. It's like, well, what would you do if you had 3 million in the bank, 10 million in the bank, $1 billion in the bank? Like, what would you really be doing with your time or with your resources? Like, what do you really want to impact in the world or create or just do or chill or whatever? But until you've kind of thought that through, and I still don't have answers to those things, but until you've thought them through, it's like you're kind of just on the hamster wheel, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. Like, you're just still on that treadmill.
Yeah. I think like I heard this idea once, like, you don't do what you want to do. You do what just comes out of you.
That reminds me of like the quote that I attribute to you, which is like, how do you decide if you're going to start a project? Like,
oh, yeah.
It's just the one that you did do. Like,
yeah.
that's the how you decide, is that you actually started it. Like, that's the whole thing.
Thank you.
Sam Feldman 2019.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, there's like all of this pressure that people, including me, put on ourselves, right? I learned a lot from like listening to Alan Watts. What was I trying to, he was talking about like, yeah, like the reason that I posted a clip to Instagram, which, so there's a chance you saw, but he was saying that the reason that you learn French should not be to get a degree in French. It should be to speak French and read French and have fun with French people. And the second that they put a degree on it, it becomes this status seeking thing. And I think that a very simple North Star to live my life by is just, if I'm learning French, I better want to know French.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I did see that clip, and the old great Alan Watts nails it again. Just
he is too good, man. Alan Watts, man. If there was like some sort of token that, like, I think he's like so brilliant.
We should make Alan Watts NFT art.
Yeah. We should, man. That's what I'm gonna start doing with my time.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to do that, but we actually could make some dope shit. Like if we licensed it and like got some cool, like we could make like real cool NFTs. So it's honestly,
It's probably like public domain, isn't it? Isn't it old enough to just?
no,
Oh,
it has to be like over 120 years.
oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, that's too recent.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was like 50 years or something, but yeah, no, you're right. I'm sure there's some opportunity there though. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we should go down the NFT rabbit hole. I haven't even gone down the rabbit hole much, but
not time yet.
Yeah. Maybe we'll leave that for next time to discuss which of these various things are bullshit or not.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel like we could go on for a bit. I feel bad that I got this fight in a bit.
No, I think it's great. I feel like we're at a good spot to just wrap it right here and like have a shorter like it's kind of cool. Is like this was a more focused episode in a way, because usually it's like we end up talking about everything in one episode.
Right. I'll be like, oh, but also tell me how you're doing and how you're feeling and like what's
the meaning of life and how are investments and what are you working on and what's next. Like, yeah, we do so many things. Like, it's kind of cool that this is just this was the most exciting. This was the non-Bitcoin maximalist pro Helium podcast.
Yeah.
With some philosophy at the end.
Bro, the Bitcoin maximalism, man, it's no different than any other type of maximalism, man. And like, it's I think gonna become more widespread. But yeah, man.
Yeah, it's unhealthy for the space.
Yeah, and at the same time, like, I have nothing against these people because like I respect Bitcoin and crypto, and like I also think that if we were to talk, like even last night I talked to this guy, I was like, oh, but like let me tell you about something, like, and he was like, yeah, like most of the coins are bad. Right. And I said, oh, like I appreciate you saying most and not all. Yeah. Because like that's
I see
and like
that.
we can talk with people and we can meet in the middle. So like I disagree with Bitcoin maximalism, but have nothing against Bitcoin maximalists.
Yeah, I feel that. I agree with that. No, I have everything against them. Fuck them.
Wow, shots fired.
Just kidding. No, I agree.
Never mind.
I mean, I think we have a lot in common. I mean, they're more on our page than most people in a way. It's like what we said. They've already tapped in. They've just got stuck. They tapped in and then they thought they were already in paradise or some shit.
So you can't arrive at paradise. Like what keeps Bitcoin going is the thought that is being open-minded. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think Bitcoin's going to last forever. I think 100, 200, 500 years, like no currency lasts forever. But it'll probably last for longer than the dollar, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's wrap it.
Let's do it.
You can find us, Matt Loberstein, Sam Feldman, Thoughts from Space Rock, Facebook group.
Yeah, check
other
out
places.
The crypto price website I'm building is marketcap.guide, or if you want a shortcut, just type in m.guide, or if you want a shortcut for most of the top 100 coins, just type in the abbreviation of that coin.guide, and you can see any of those detail pages. So,
like btc.guide, eth.guide, stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's super easy that you got all the domains. I love that.
You can do RUNE.guide, hnt.guide, helium.guide. What are some other ones? Decred.guide. I don't know. I think sol.guide is Solana's page. So there's a bunch of exciting ones.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool that it's out there. Yeah.
All
Sweet.
Right. Hell yeah. Let's
cool. Thanks for listening.
Thank you guys for listening.
We will click stop.
We'll click stop.